What can you bring into the Philippines as a traveler? Now, I'm going to get into more and more details as we go through this, so stick with me if you can. I decided to do this video after reading this article about a Korean arrested for undeclared yen 47 million. And we're going to talk about what can you bring into the Philippines without declaring it. What items do you have to declare, and what agencies do you have to contact to declare certain types of items? This article was in the Philippine Star, Phil Star, and a South Korean passenger was arrested at Ninoy Aquino International Airport on Thursday after customs officials discovered undeclared 47 million Japanese yen, equivalent to US $292,307, more than 17 million pesos, in his check-in luggage. Customs X-ray inspection detected the foreign bills in the luggage upon his arrival at NAIA Terminal 3 from Tokyo, according to Customs Assistant. I found this website. I did a search and come across a lot of old information, which I wasn't sure is still reliable and accurate. Anyway, this is the newest. This was dated June 30th, in fact. June 30th, 2024. So hopefully it is updated and accurate. From the Department of Finance, Bureau of Customs, and guidelines for arriving travelers. And you're going to be able to click on each of these. We'll go through a little bit of this information here. But first, a little bit about Bayan boxes. Many of you have used those to ship yourself and your girlfriend or spouse these types of things. Importing goods in the Philippines when duty and tax are due on imported goods, except as otherwise provided for in this act or in other laws. All goods, when imported into the Philippines, shall be subjected to duty upon importation, including goods previously exported from the Philippines. Prohibited goods. According to CMTA Section 118, importation and exportation of the following goods are prohibited: written or printed goods, negatives or cinematography films, photographs, engravings, lithographs, objects, paintings, drawings, or other representations of an obscene or immoral character. Materials advocating or inciting treason or rebellion, insurrection, sedition against the government of the Philippines. Abortion paraphernalia, adulterated or misbranded food or drugs, counterfeit goods. Now, I can tell you that even though it's illegal, the Philippines is full of counterfeit goods. Goods manufactured in whole or in part of gold, silver, or other precious materials or alloys, and the stamp, brand, or mark does not indicate the actual fineness or of quality of the metals or alloys. And other regulated goods. The following goods shall be imported or exported only after securing necessary goods declaration or export declaration clearances and other requirements prior to importation or exportation. General clearance procedures for traveling. Upon arrival, the traveler or crew shall submit a customs baggage declaration form to the customs examiner with the baggage, and generally you fill out a customs form on the plane. They'll hand you a form to fill out whether you have anything to declare. If baggage is declared X by X-ray personnel, the same shall be subjected to 100% physical examination by the examiner. I can tell you, many years ago, I had one of my bags examined. I think probably in the USA, as I was traveling from Phoenix to Los Angeles. I think there was a tag on it saying it had been opened, and I had bought a lot of these little foil encased lens cleaning for my glasses, lens cleaning things, and the box came apart and they were scattered all throughout. So they must have given off quite a signature in the X-ray, and I'm sure they were wondering what those packets were. If the goods are taxable, duties and taxes shall be collected. Travelers shall pay duties and taxes to the customs cashier. Customs cashier shall issue the official Bureau of Customs receipt. After payment, the traveler shall present the BCOR to the customs examiner. Therefore, she is clear of customs. Specific clearance procedures for travelers bringing goods for re-export. Most of you would not be involved in that, but there are forms to fill out for that type of thing as well. If you've got a business, you're bringing in items and then you plan on re-exporting. Want a hassle-free purchase from abroad? You may buy and bring these items into the Philippines without clearance from Food and Drug Administration, only if they are for personal use within the allowed quantity. These may be brought to the Philippines through passenger baggage, Bayan boxes, or parcels through mail or delivery services. Now, I have shipped myself a phone from the U.S., a U.S. phone from the U.S. I have mailed myself some of my mail, important mail, credit cards, those types of things, without any hassles. I have received a number of items from China through Lazada, which is kind of a wannabe. Lazada is kind of like a wannabe Amazon, but they don't have their own, for the most part, they do not have their own warehouse. It's just a logistics center. Companies sign up with them, make orders through Lazada. They send the orders on to the companies. The companies ship the items directly to the people. Items with quantity beyond the specified limits will be seized and forfeited in favor of the government. Those items within the specified limit shall be allowed without FDA DOH clearance, subject to payment of customs duties when necessary. And let's just look at a few of these comments here. They're real short. Are my goods subject to payment of duties and taxes? All goods, when imported from any foreign country, including those previously exported from the Philippines, shall be subject to duties and taxes except when specifically exempted. And we just talked about the exemptions of when they're for personal use within certain limits. What's the value? All travelers bringing in goods with a value of 10,000 pesos or below shall not pay duties and taxes. This is for Filipino citizens. All Filipino citizens are entitled, that could be your girlfriend or your girlfriend's family and or your wife. All Filipino citizens are entitled to buy and tax exemption for personal effects and household goods sent or brought in Bayan boxes or baggage 3 times in a calendar year. The total value of all availments must not exceed 150,000 pesos, provided the goods are not in commercial quantities or intended for barter sales or hire. What is the treatment of excisable goods? Each traveler is entitled to duty and tax, VAT, and excise free importation of 2 reams of cigarettes or 50 sticks of cigars or 250 grams of pipe tobacco and 2 bottles of liquor with a total value of less than 10,000 pesos or less. What happens when I fail to declare my dutiable goods? Failure to declare any dutiable goods will subject the traveler to payment of duties and taxes plus a surcharge of 30% based on the total landed cost of the goods. Who is entitled to duty and tax-free privileges? Foreigner or Filipino traveler, returning residents, or overseas Filipino workers. What am I allowed to bring for the availment of duty and tax exemption privilege? Brand new personal effects and goods for personal use needed during the stay in the Philippines, but are not in common commercial quantity. Is an OFW, overseas Filipino worker, allowed to bring home appliances? Yes, provided they are limited to 1 of each kind and the total value which does not exceed 150,000 pesos. What are Bayan boxes? And many of you have used these types of boxes. You can buy them, very cheap way to ship. Takes 1, 2, 3 months to receive them, and they come in various sizes. You need to find a Filipino Bayan box service company, oftentimes a little convenience store in the U.S., perhaps other parts of the world. Bayan boxes are packages for personal effects goods for personal use and or pasolabog, pasolabong, or gifts sent or brought in by Filipinos from abroad for their families, relatives in the Philippines. Now, Bayan, a foreign spouse of a Filipino, Bayan basically means a Filipino has been out of the country for over a year. And if you're married to that Filipino, you can come in and get a year Bayan privilege, basically a 1 year visa, free visa. But I think the rules still are you must come in with your Filipino spouse. Now that has changed a little bit over the years, and don't hold me to it. Find out what the somebody's going to comment and say, oh no, I came in without my spouse. I got my had my marriage certificates and everything, and I was allowed in without traveling with my spouse. What goods are allowed in Bayan boxes which are duty and tax free? Non-commercial goods, or goods not in commercial quantity, strictly for personal use only, such as wearing apparel, clothing, foodstuff, canned goods, gadgets for personal use, the value of which shall not exceed Philippine peso 150,000. Goods in commercial quantities or for commercial purposes found in Bayan boxes are subject to duties and taxes. Now, I will tell you, I came first to the Philippines in 2015, and I think 2016, they tried to crack down on, because surely there's a lot of illegal stuff and commercial volumes of items that they plan on reselling here in the Philippines, coming through in Bayan boxes. And the plan was to start x-raying all boxes and doing much more opening of boxes and examining. There was a big protest against that, and they finally backed away from that. I still think they do x-ray all Bayan boxes. How closely they examine them, I'm not sure, but have any of you experienced that type of thing, where you've been called in, not being allowed to deliver the Bayan box? You've been called in to answer what are these large quantities that look like commercial quantities? How can I avail the duty and tax-free privilege? To avail of the duty and free privilege, it must be supported by a tax exemption and endorsement from the Department of Finance and Revenue Office personal and household goods, including wearing apparel, goods of personal adornment, toilet goods, instruments related to one's profession except luxury items, vehicles, watercrafts, aircrafts, and animals purchased in foreign countries. And let's go down here once more. This is the big caveat here. You may buy and bring these items into the Philippines without clearance from Food and Drug Administrations, only if they are for personal use and within the allowed quantity. So the big question is, what are the quantity limitations? And I found this site, importation of regulated products for personal use into the Philippines. Comes from the Department of Health, Food and Drug Administration of the Bureau of Customs, regulated products. And if they're for personal use only, do not exceed the quantities indicated below, are brought into the Philippines either in the traveler's personal baggage, in a Bayan box, or in parcels sent through mail or delivery service. The regulated products and respective quantity limitations are as follows. Assorted cosmetics, 5 kilograms. Now, a kilogram, for those in America, kilogram is 2.25 pounds. So you multiply kilograms by 2.2. So this would be 2.2 times 5, so right around 11 pounds, right? Bar of soap, 2 kilograms. comprising different variants, only up to 500 grams of the same variant allowed. Child care articles, 5 kilograms. There again, about 11 pounds. Household hazardous substance, detergent, fabric conditioner, such 5 kilograms. Insulin needles and lancelets, up to 100 pieces. In vitro diagnostic products, 1 piece of each type. In vitro maintenance test strips, up to 100 pieces. Lipstick, 10 pieces, comprising different variants, only up to 3 pieces of the same variant allowed, probably so that they don't think you're trying to sell them. Lotion, 2 kilograms, comprising different variants, only up to 1 kilogram of the same variant allowed. 2.2 pounds, 1 kilogram. Medical devices, 1 piece of each type. Over-the-counter drugs, 50 grams. 50 grams. Now, I don't know. I never looked at this when I came in. I suspect that I brought in more than 50 grams of over-the-counter drugs, but 50 grams, I'm not sure. Perfumes, 5 pieces. Prescription drugs, quantity or volume indicated in person's prescription. Actual prescription must be presented, indicating physician's license and practice number. Now, I've had different people tell me that they brought in, I think, 90 days supply without any types of problems. Processed food, including cooked food, up to 10 kilograms. Shampoo, 2 kilograms. Toys, 10 pieces of different variants. Vitamins, supplements, health supplements intended as maintenance medicine, 500 grams total. Now, there again, I think the second time I came into the Philippines, I've had 3 trips into the Philippines over 8 years. I had, let me look at one of my bottles, like a large bottle of multivitamins. I do not see the grams listed on my large container of Kirkland multivitamin mineral supplements, but I know I brought in, I'd bought and put quite a few items in my baggage. Wines, liquor, 2 bottles, not to exceed 1.5 liters. Here again, any quantity of the above cited products, whether declared or undeclared, beyond the specified limits, which do not have a required Bureau of Customs or FDA DOH, Department of Health, Food and Drug Administration, Department of Health clearance, will be seized and forfeited by the Bureau of Customs. Fresh and frozen unprocessed food. Fresh or frozen unprocessed food, including fresh fruits, frozen meat, fresh fish, even in quantities for personal use, may not be brought in or sent to the Philippines without the prior clearance from the Department of Agriculture of the Philippines. Pesticides, importation of any household urban pesticide shall require prior FDA release, and you can buy most of this type of thing in hardware stores, grocery stores, number of their other stores as well. Dangerous drugs, controlled precursors, and essential chemicals. Travelers to the Philippines who take prescription drugs, tablets and ampoules shall bring a letter from their physician stating the condition for which they are receiving treatment and the dosage with English translation. The amount of drugs brought into the country shall also be sufficient for the duration of the visit. For those who are traveling onward to another country, they are advised that separate quantities of drugs should be sealed and declared again before exiting the country. Dangerous drugs, controlled precursors, and essential chemicals and other similar or analogous substances are subject to the regulations of the Dangerous Drugs Board. Please refer to the information on the DDB website on the list of controlled substances. If you are uncertain whether the prescription drug you are using is allowed in the Philippines, as some drugs are prohibited under Republic Act 9165, please send an email directly to, and there's the email address and another email address for inquiries, And I suggest you do that. Also, if you're wondering, I occasionally get questions about is such and such product available in the Philippines? There are many large chain pharmacies here. Send them a letter and ask them whether they have that available or an equivalent different brand. Because if you just ask them if that particular item is available, they may say no, unless you specifically ask, do you have the equivalent in another brand, another name? Anyway, that is most of the information, the most up-to-date information I think that I've found. Keep in mind, regulations can change quickly, so they might change that. Get in touch with your airlines. Your airline might have different regulations. If you're stopping in other countries along the way here or afterwards, those countries will have different regulations. So anyway, thanks for watching. Looking forward to your comments. Stay safe, safe travels, and I'll see you next time.